Okay, just a short disclaimer before you watch that video. I just watched the footage myself, and if you can't make sense of anything that I said, or if it sometimes seems a bit incoherent, that happens when you're autistic, and there are sometimes days or incidents where I go completely non-verbal, and today there was some noise in the house, some building going on that really unnerved me and my autistic brain. So I couldn't really form the greatest sentences in the world, and I'm a bit unsatisfied with the footage I got because I really wanted to film a very great book haul, but that's life, and that is the everyday life of being an autistic reader. So yeah, just a short disclaimer, and let's go back to normal. Let's go back to the footage. Hello, welcome back to Reading the Decades with me, and welcome to this very big book haul of 2020. Most of the books I accumulated in 2019 though, because they were my Christmas present, or I bought them. Oh, the sun is fading. Yeah, or I bought them with gift vouchers, and then there was also the Boxing Day sale that Waterstones had, so yeah. And at once, it's very sunny today, so you kind of see me fade in and fade out of the sun a few times. I really want to sit right in front of the window and film there because it's kind of nice to have the trees and the sky in the background, but have to figure out the lighting there a bit. So yeah, one book I picked up with a gift voucher I got for Christmas was Roberto Bolaño's 2666, and I started reading this in Waterstones, and I really wanted that for quite a long time, but I made myself wait until I got a voucher to buy it. And it's really big, it's 900 pages, and I really like big books, and I really enjoy Spanish writing authors, but it's so hard to get the original books in Spanish or in whatever language in the UK, so this is obviously the English translation now. And I don't know too much about it, just know some keywords that really spoke to me. So it is set at the US-Mexican border, which is quite a relevant topic at the moment, and lots of people meet there. And the first few pages I read were about a student or scholar who fell in love with a particular German author, well, with the German author's works, and translated them. And so like academic stories are always something that sucks me in straight away. And yeah, on the back it says like a series of horrifying crimes, conspiracy, shadow of the apocalypse. Sounds really good, very intriguing, and I'm looking forward to reading that very soon. For Christmas I got 2 books by C.S. Lewis. The first one is The Reading Life, which is quite a short one, which is an anthology of little sections taken out of his works, put together in this book, and those sections or those writings basically focus on reading and readers and reading life basically, and I've read that and I enjoyed that a lot. And another C.S. Lewis book I got is An Experiment in Criticism. I haven't read that one yet. I'm very excited for that one. One German book I got for Christmas was Gilmore Girls, which is a little book from a series by the German publisher Reklam, who published certain books on exactly 100 pages about several different topics. And I really like Gilmore Girls, the series, and I thought it was kind of interesting to have this little book which talks about just different topics of the series and gives some background information, and yeah, I hope they translate that into English, because I think it's quite a very nice short little book for fans, or if you want to write a paper on the story and need some more information, or I don't know. The next book I got is a Penguin book of the prose poem from Baudelaire to N. Carson, and this is a topic, or this is a genre I very much like to explore a bit more. I really like poetry, I like prose, and a prose poem is so interesting. When I write poetry, I really enjoy writing prose poems, because you have so much. It's such fun to create a hybrid of prose and poetry, basically. So yeah, excited for that one as well. The next book I got is Bruce Hood, Possessed, Why We Want More Than We Need, which well, the title is pretty self-explanatory. I'm really into learning more about capitalism, and I really want to make 2020 the year where I learn more about this topic, and I'm excited for that book, and I also want to see how I can apply what is talked about in this book to a culture of book lovers, basically, of us being book collectors and being readers and different types of readers. So I hope I'm going to read this book very, very soon. Then we have Philip Pullman's Demon Voices, Essays on Storytelling, because that is another topic I want to learn more about in 2020, different authors on how they work, basically. And also it's by Philip Pullman, and I want to read more by Philip Pullman, and it is so pretty. I've seen that around so many times in the bookshops, and I'm so happy to finally have my own copy of it. In 2019 I read The Silent Companions by Laura Purcell, and I really enjoyed this book, so I asked for Bone China, which is her other book, and this is a historical fiction or historical novel, and I don't really know what it is about. A revolutionary experiment convinced that sea air will prove to be the cure his wife and children needed. Okay, so yeah, historical fiction. I don't know too much about this book, but I didn't need to know much about it, because The Silent Companions was so good that I think Laura Purcell for me now is an autobiography author. Then the book that I'm reading at the moment is the library book by Susan Orlean, and this book title is very self-explanatory as well, and I will talk a lot more about this in my wrap-up, definitely, because it's quite a good one, and I'm nearly finished. I only have like 30 pages left, I think, in this book, so yeah. And if you can't guess from the title, it's about libraries, especially about American libraries, and then especially about the Los Angeles Public Library that burned down in 1986. And yeah, quite interesting to read about that. Another one of my things I want to learn about research in 2020 is Enid Blyton. So for Christmas I got Enid Blyton, the biography by Barbara Stoney, and yeah, one of the books that I'm most excited for, and hopefully also read very soon, so I can make a video and everything. Then I got Robert Eaglestone's contemporary fiction, A Very Short Introduction. I really like a series, A Very Short Introduction by Oxford University Press. You get like a very quick and very brief overview on certain topics. And there's one book I read from this series this month, which is an abomination. I'll talk about this more in my January wrap-up, and yeah, so I found out that not all books of in this series are quite good, so I hope this one is going to be one of the very better ones. The next book is The Dinner by Hermann Koch, a book that I've seen around since it came out basically. I was always intrigued by it, but not, I've never was intrigued enough to read it, but yeah, no, I got a very, very nice copy of it, because this is kind of like a cutout and you can open it, and it has this this scenery then, very nice. And this is about, I don't know, basically two couples meet, and it's about the conversations they have and the relationships they have to each other while consuming that dinner. A book I could not escape, or could anybody escape this book on BookTube and Goodreads and everywhere in 2019. It is Casey McQuiston, Red, White and Royal Blue, and I thought it sounded quite interesting and funny, and it's about basically it's about a British prince and the son of the American president, I think, and they fall in love, and it's interesting, and everybody says so many good things about it, and sometimes I just want to read a very cute love story, and I hope that this is what I want. I hope that this can satisfy my expectations on it. Another book I've already read and talk more about in my January wrap-up is Michigan vs. the Boys by Carrie S. Allen, which is about a female hockey team, and the cover is so beautiful, and this is something completely different to what I would have normally read. So yeah, 2020 is also the year for me to try out new things again, so this was one of my tryouts. Poems from the Edge of Extinction, an anthology of poetry in endangered languages, edited by Chris McCabe. This book sounds so interesting. First of all, I'm so interested in languages, and this book collects poetry from languages that won't be around in a few years anymore, sadly, and translates them and talks about them, talks about the language they were written in. So fascinating. It's like, I'm so intrigued by learning about new languages, trying to decipher them myself, then reading the translation, seeing how well they were translated. Oh god, I'm so excited for that one. I think that might be the one I'm most excited for, actually. One book I've also read, and I will make a whole video about, is Jenny Odell's How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Intention Economy. And this has the most beautiful cover in the world, and that cover makes so much sense when you read that book. And yeah, well, it's basically about how to do nothing and how nothing is defined in our attention economy. Then another big book I got is Wanderers by Chuck Wendig. I think this is like kind of like an apocalyptic story. I don't know too much about it, but it was more like the keywords I read on it that got me interested in it, and also it's so big. It has 800 pages, and I love big books, so very excited for that one. And then I got two books that I will feature again in a different video, and one of them is the Stephen King companion, 4 Decades of Fear from the Master of Horror by George Beam, which is that one, and the other one is A Complete Stephen King Universe, A Guide to the Words of Stephen King, which looks like this. And as the title suggests, they are both companions to Stephen King, to his writing, and to the film adaptations and TV adaptations and everything. And I decided to get them to read simultaneously while I read certain works of his. So whenever I read a book by him, I just look up what those two books have written or have to say about the book I'm reading. So yeah, so there won't be books that I read from cover to cover, although I really appreciate, or I really like reading books from cover to cover, but yeah, these are a bit different. They're just companions to books I'll be reading. And then Waterstones had his Boxing Day sale, and I bought 2 books in that sale. The first one being Nine's House by Leigh Bardugo. I really wanted to read this book because I've heard so many great things about it, and it's an adult fantasy book, so I might relate to the protagonist a bit more than if it was teenage fantasy. And it also has a university setting. I think it takes place at, is it Yale or Harvard? Yale. And yeah, I'm excited for that one. And the very nice bookseller in Waterstones Piccadilly said that she really enjoyed that book, so I trust her, I think. And the other book I got in this sale is Beloved by Toni Morrison, and this is this very, very pretty special edition. It has black edges and just has a very, very nice cover, and yeah, it's not high on my priority reading list at the moment, but I hope that I will read all of those books in 2020. So there you have it. This is basically my first book haul of the year with books from 2019. And I'm not sure if there will be another book haul this year. Let's be honest, I like buying books and I like reading. But my January, my no buy month, and I'm good so far. I only bought things that I needed, so the no buy isn't only for books but other things as well. And yeah, so far I didn't buy any books. I still have some vouchers left that I want to use, so I don't count that towards my no buy because basically it's stuff for free. And yeah, so I'm intrigued by how long I can live without buying books. I resisted quite a lot of good offers so far, but then also again, I'm so pleased with what I have, and I'm just so happy with what I have, and I really want to enjoy what I have at the moment. And before I dive into new things again, I really want to focus on the things that I have at the moment and want to value them a bit more and get the most out of them, and not just read them and read the next book, but I want to spend quality time with the books I read and investigate them a bit more. So that plays into my Enid Blyton project, for example, this year. Yeah, that's it from me for today. I hope I see you soon, and happy reading.